Okay. All right, guys. We are here to talk. If you guys can handle it, we're talking a third straight loss for Iowa women's basketball, this time to Indiana today. I know we're not used to this. We are spoiled rotten. We haven't lost 3 games in a row since 2018. And
Nope.
so, guys, you got Molly Tidebeck right there, former Hawkeye player. Got myself here. And first of all, when you right now, if you're just watching, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Hit the like button while you're thinking about it. Leave a comment and share. Okay, we're a little later than we would expect. I know some of you are probably sleeping already, but you know what? This will be here in the morning when you get up. Put it in your car, listen to it on the way to work, and it'll be a nice little commute time podcast for you to listen to in your car. How's that
Right?
sound? Yeah, listen to us, guys, and all your friends. Okay, so let's talk about the loss. We knew it was going to be a long day when they started out 3 possessions, 3 turnovers, 6 points down right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Yeah.
Not
Especially with
good.
Indiana, because Indiana will take your turnovers and turn it into a score. They'll either give you a three or a two. They're going to score. If you give them back the ball, they're
Yeah.
scoring.
Yeah.
Especially with the
The opening
history that we've
5, I thought we
had
went down.
against Indiana. If y'all remember Caitlin's last second shot to beat them. So
Yeah.
they're out for blood.
Yeah. Indiana is one of those teams that we have traded punches with in the past, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At home and
Okay.
away.
Yeah. Interesting statistic. I mean, I think everybody who's watched the game knows what happened. It knows that we got at right before halftime we got 15 points down.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Looks like we're having issues again already. We got 15 points down right before halftime, and we got it to stick right at halftime, and so great. We just come out and continue where we left off, and that didn't work that way too much.
No.
Found ourselves getting down again. I think in the second half we just get down by 10 points is the most we got down. I think we got
Yeah.
down by 12 or 11 at one point, and we just kept clawing away. We did keep losing that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and watching it, it seemed like, and I think I talked to you about this before as a coach. You know, Jan was trying a lot of players in and out and substitutes, and and just trying anything and everything to get somebody to do something, to have someone be a leader on the floor. I mean, you could feel it and see it, and it almost got to the point where like somebody would get started, wouldn't even almost get finished, and then they would have to be pulled back out on the floor. Um, so it was the struggle was real for Iowa. Oh, looks like we lost him again. Technical difficulties. I know him and I were talking about. I know that a lot of people are wondering what's going on and what's different from this season to last year. I do know that I looked up the amount of points that Iowa has lost from Clark, Martin, and Marshall, and it was a total of 50 points have been lost. And they brought back a total of 47 points, including 13, or no, sorry, 17 from Lucy. Um, and so now you're looking at, Stulkey, a Falter, O'Grady, and McCabe, as well as Fauerbach, having to make up those 50 points that actually left. So you're looking at, some players that you're asking to step up. And if you don't have them step up, now you got a bunch of freshmen that they have to pick it up. So let me see what he's got going on, guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I know he's going to have to figure this one out. Let me go ahead and get off real quick, and then we'll get back in. But it looks like he got lost. So sorry, everybody.
All right, everyone, bear with us. We'll be right back in a moment. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we rolling right along. Hang out for just a moment.
Come on, yeah, 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 come on, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, baby, I don't mean to be rude. Yeah, yeah, I'm just a little different from all these dudes. Okay, 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 they riding waves, me, I'm up on the cruise. Yeah, yeah, you feel like me, then you got nothing to prove. I see him trying to do what I do. Yeah, yeah, even Mick Jagger couldn't move like a move. Yeah.
You're back on live, my friend.
All right.
Okay. All right. Difficulties, everybody. We're back. I'm presuming that we were still alive the whole time because we were the last time.
I talked for a little bit and then I said, well, I got to go find him. He's lost somewhere.
I'm lost in outer space, out in cyberland somewhere.
You were.
Okay, I don't even
shot
remember
out.
what we were talking about when we. What's that?
We were talking about how they just couldn't get back. Like they were down 10 and then, they would come back within a certain amount. Like it's just that we could never cut that 10-point lead, it seemed like, from Indiana.
Okay.
And then
Yeah. Go ahead. I don't want to
well,
interrupt
and
your
then
thought. Train of
and then when
thought.
we decided to finally just kick it in and play, there wasn't enough time left.
Yeah. All right. So, do we want to be the podcast like the others that rail on Jan, and her for what we're gonna do, or should we just say, hey, she's a new head coach, first time, even though she's been on for years, and she's doing her best to do. She's figuring it out along with her kid. My opinion.
I mean, I say that too. I mean, because like y'all don't understand how difficult that is, how hard that is as a head coach to take over a team after you have a huge stellar year like the one with Caitlin and what Bluter did for so many years, and then you have to step back in. I mean, the same things happened when Coach Stringer stepped out and Angie Lee stepped in. I mean, it's a very hard thing to do, and I think, of course, Jan's doing the best she can. She's gonna do the best she can. She's gonna keep on trying things. Those girls are out there on the floor to play basketball and to win. They're not out there to lose a game. I guarantee none of those girls out there would be like, "Oh yay, we lost today." That's not what they want to do. And I know Jan Jensen, as a player of Bluter, as a coach of Bluter, as an Iowan born player, she's going to do whatever it can take, whatever she needs to do in order to turn the program around. Is it a rebuilding year? I mean, in some sort of way, it is. When you lose Clark, Martin, and Marshall, um, and Molly, I mean, that's a lot to have to replace. And the Big Ten didn't get any easier. It got harder if that was something that could happen. I believe it's something that happened. And now they're stepping into this without what they had before. So I think he's back.
He's getting back on. He's having a little Wi-Fi issue.
It
But I
must
did
be
get a
the
chance to actually check out this game. Garzon for Indiana going 5 for 5 from three was insane. She couldn't miss today. Like she
I
was
know.
7 of 8 overall, 5 of 5 from three. Insanity. She had the hot hand today, and it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I swear to God, against Iowa, we bring in and bring the best out of everybody. Like they couldn't shoot, they won't be shooting threes for the last 7 games, and they'll come into Carver Hawkeye Arena and do that exactly that. Um, it's like everybody has their best game against Iowa. They are up to beat us. And it's always been that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't like, and then if we're not like, we'll get a steal and go down and throw the ball away. Like you can't do those things against an Indiana. Like you just
No,
can't.
no, definitely not. Indiana should have been ranked already. They will be
Absolutely,
after this win. They're definitely one of the best 25 teams in the country. It's crazy they weren't ranked.
I agree.
They'll get their due right now. They just had it really rough today on the field goals, especially on the bench side for the Hawkeyes. Normally they hit about 40%. Looks like as a
Hmm.
team they shot 33.9. That
Hmm.
makes a big difference. 6% shooting. If they hit
Absolutely.
that 40%, Iowa wins this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, because you're missing, and we were missing little bunnies too. It wasn't like we were missing, 18 foot. I mean, we're not even shooting. We were even shooting that much from the 3-point line until McCabe came in, which is great. But I told him, I said at the half, we were looking at it, it was most definitely field goal percentage. That's why we were losing the game because we tied them in everything. Like we were tied in rebounds, we were tied in turnovers.
Hmm.
We were tied from the free throw line, like all of that. It was just the fact that when we turned the ball over, they got 2 or 3 points. I mean, you can't win doing that.
Yeah, you can't. And you got Lucy Olson. She's a senior, supposed to be like one of your big leaders out there, going 3 for 12. That's rough when your senior leader has a
Uh,
game like that, and it happens from time to time.
Right.
You can't beat a team like Indiana playing that way. Credit to Indiana though, that very great on coaching today. Looked like they had Iowa confused a little bit here and there, especially on the transition part of it.
Yep.
I think we'll see Indiana in the tournament. Like it's
Oh,
not. It's
yes, for sure. But it's just crazy because you're not even like, I'm afraid we're looking at Indiana and us and everybody else is going to be dropping down when you look at all the other teams above us in the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten is strong as heck this year. That's what's nuts. So like we might just get our butt kicked in the Big Ten and then go out and do well in the tournament. It could be a possibility. But they're going to have to really turn it around and I mean, and you got to get the freshmen have to grow up right now. They just do.
well,
Like they
it doesn't get easy in the Big Ten. I mean, you've got 4 teams in the Big Ten ranked in the top 8. Well, the top 9, because Ohio State's number 9. I thought they were number 7. I'm sorry. You got the number 1
okay.
team in the country, UCLA, that beat South Carolina. You got number 4, Southern Cal. Watkins is out there just playing lights out. Ohio State, Maryland, Michigan State's ranked. Michigan, Indiana's about to be ranked. And I mean, it's tougher top to bottom than the SEC.
Absolutely.
Tougher top to bottom than the ACC. It's by far the best women's basketball conference right now. Just the teams that are in there are crazy good.
Yes. Yeah. Like it's crazy because we were talking about how they had to go through these games that we just went through and they had to win these games. Like you have to win those. The ones you're supposed to win, you gotta win them, and the ones that you're like, oh, maybe you still gotta win those because you might be able to get one over, get a bad day on USC or UCLA, but it's not looking like it. Um, so yeah, a lot of growing pains, but I mean, it's not for a lack of talent with Iowa at all. Like we got a deep bench. We got Lucy's coming in and doing what she can. It's just I don't see us flowing quite yet. I don't think we have that leadership quite yet. I don't think we have the rhythm quite yet, and I don't think we found that five, that solid five that's gonna stick it to somebody. When it comes down to that, when you really need it, I don't think we have found that yet. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just so top to bottom. Nebraska probably could be ranked. Illinois, Oregon.
Mhm.
You say the freshmen have to like really really light up on it, and that's just gonna have to happen. And everybody wants to take out Iowa now that Caitlin Clark's gone, right? Get a little
Yeah.
revenge tour.
Right. It's
She lit
yes.
them up for so many years. That's what this is about. That's why you said
Absolutely.
earlier that you're getting their best shot. That's the reason, because they know she ain't there. I think Iowa will be fine. It's really
they
tough
will be.
place to play.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because they will be. I mean, because come on, I mean, when I look at these freshmen that are on the floor and what they are actually doing, like Stremlo, right, Hayden, Guyton, and the way they step in, Mulaney, like there's a different air about them on the court. And they just need the minutes, and we just need to figure out which ones are going to gel and just stay with it. Like, go old school, like, and then just bring in a couple here and there. Like, trying to bring in a 5 and a 5 and a 5, I just don't think is going to work right now, because it's not flowing like we need it to. And Jan's gonna figure it out. She's gonna do I bet she's up right now trying to figure it out. I mean, like, no one's out there playing to lose a basketball game, and no one's
No.
out there to coach to lose a basketball game. We just have to hold on for the ride, and hope for the best, and just understand that they know what they're doing. I mean, they know what they've recruited. They know what they've recruited that's coming in, and they're gonna put it together. We just got to give it a minute. I mean, we just came out off of one of the highest things we've ever had at Iowa. Come on. I mean, it's insane. And Caitlin has changed the game. So you come off that high, and you come in and you're like, everything is boring. Like, I'm serious. Like, I watch basketball now. It's just boring if I'm not watching Caitlin Clark. And that's insane to me. So you got to give it a minute. It's going to be okay. It's going to be different basketball, but it's going to be okay.
Well, I mean, you just take Lucy Olson. Had she have not had 3 or 4 of them rim out and have just a little bit of a rough game, Iowa wins this game. I mean, it all fell on her today. So we could be talking about a 10-point Iowa swing had she had 3 or 4 of them go in, and that's the game of basketball, right? They'll get right. I think Iowa is very well coached. I don't think they're gonna lose a lot of games. I think we'll see them in the tournament. It's going to be a tall task to beat UCLA and USC, though. Those
very tall
teams. But they don't have to, right? You don't have to beat those teams. You can beat the other teams. I think the Big Ten's probably going to get 12 teams in the tournament the way it's looking right now, and that's insane. I don't know if we've ever seen that before.
I don't think so either. There's no way, because it's always been like an Iowa, Purdue, Ohio State, right?
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, think about it. That's it. So you get Ohio, Purdue, sometimes like Michigan State, maybe Michigan, but it was literally us 3: Iowa, Purdue, Maryland, of course, because Maryland started pulling it up in the end, right? But they, like, back when I was, Maryland was like they're not Big Ten, like they weren't part of the Big Ten, so that's just strange to say that. But now just to talk about the teams that are. Like, I mean, even when I watched Michigan play, I was like, Michigan is insane too. That's not a bad team.
No.
Like, come on. Good God. When I was watching them run up and down the floor, I was like, we've got, I mean, you got to play. You got to play your A game. There's no like, oh, we got this game. It's not like that anymore. It's just not.
No, and all 4 expansion teams that came from the Pac-12 I'm talking about, are just amazing. All 4 of them are really good. So you instantly inserted 4 tournament teams into your league, and that affects things.
Yeah, and that's what made football so amazing this year too, right? Like, nuts. You've seen it around the whole I mean, it's going to change the whole entire Big Ten tournament for every sport. for sure.
I mean, the increasing competition helps in the long run, though, because if you look, without the Strange play against Notre Dame, you're looking at an All Big Ten national championship in football. I mean, you're that
Right.
close. That
Right.
tells you what those 4 expansion teams have done for the Big Ten. And I think the national championship. National champion in women's basketball is still going to stay here. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But I wouldn't be surprised to see UCLA, USC, or one of those teams, or even Ohio State grab the national championship this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility for real. I mean, again, you don't know. I mean, Dawn Staley's going to change everything she needs to change. She's already talked about what she's doing with her players. I mean,
Yep.
she's already talked about she's got to make them all around players, and she's looking for the next level. She's talked about how they're not even ready to go to the WNBA yet, which makes sense. So I think, it's just so, but her doing that makes that even a better team,
Mhm.
like all around. Like you just cannot stop them, and that's the thing where Iowa needs to find a leader. We got to find a leader now, like right now, like. And I don't know if it's Lucy. I don't see her. I literally see those freshmen stepping up a little bit more, kind of just, but they're kind of like, should I? No, you should. Like you can. It's fine. It doesn't matter who it is. We just need someone to lead the team.
Correct. And women's basketball coaching matters more than anywhere else. A lot of people
Absolutely.
don't understand that. You look at Dawn State. They lost an early game to UCLA.
Yes.
And since then, they've beaten 5 ranked teams, and they beat a top 5 team today by 18, and it could have been worse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the adjustments, like Dawn Staley is my favorite, don't get me wrong, and it may be a little biased here, but with 2 national championships, should have had a third one in 2020 with COVID year because they had already beaten 7 out of the top 10 teams that year. Adjustments, right? And that's what you're going to see at Iowa. Make no mistake. Like Lucy's not going to have a bad game every game, and that does not bode well for the opponents.
No.
So,
but
it's going to be great.
Totally agree. But again, it's so watch South Carolina, right? Watch USC, watch UCLA, right? Watch them. And you will find someone who is leading that team when they're on the floor. They're extension of their coach on that floor. Someone is, right? So that's what we have got to find with Iowa. You've got to find someone that's the extension of the head coach on the floor. When you step on the floor and they demand that, and then they demand that of the team. You just have to have that. Whether it's a point guard, a post player, back when I was playing, it was either my point guards, it was a post player, or it was Franthea Price, who was a three player. Like we just knew she was going to tell us what to do and we were going to be okay. There's that sense of we're okay when we're on the floor. Like you just feel it. You know you're okay. And if you watch Dawn Staley, she's bringing in her guards effectively like that because she knows one's going to lead. She takes the other one off. Then that one's going to come back on and lead. She takes that one off. Like she knows, and she's grooming them to do that. So, you just gotta step up and make that decision and start talking to those players like that. Like talk to them now. This is what I need from you. I need you to be my leader on the floor. Like you just got to do it. And I don't care if you're a freshman. I need this from you. You can't tell me Stremlo would not go out there and do that if you asked her. She'll run through a brick wall if you ask her.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
Yep. So depth.
So
I think depth is what's important here. I think Iowa has it. I think they just need to get back to it.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking to Dean. I'm trying to get him back in here.
You're good.
He's having little issues.
Maybe it's some fires out there or something, like it's just so sad. Like it's so sad what's going on in California right now.
It is very sad. And I think that's what's affecting him right now. He's saying his Wi-Fi is good, but when he was on here, he was real grainy and all that. I think that's the effect, but he's back in. He doesn't know how to refresh. Let's see. I'll have him call me.
I always shut myself off and then come back in is what I do. And then but it was him. I've always been fine and I'm straight on my phone.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what he did. He came out and came back in. He said he refreshed his router. But he's showing me a picture that's not showing it there. He needs to refresh the whole thing. So I'm gonna have him video call me. He'll get the hang of this here soon. He's really having fun with it.
Yeah,
Right,
it's pretty awesome.
all right, this is an audio. I'm gonna hit you on video. I need to walk him through it.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'll hang up and do.
Okay. I still can't see you though.
I'll be right.
He said my bad and hung up.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
It's kind of what you want to do in coaching sometimes. My bad, and just walk off the court. Feel like I'm done. But you know, Jan's going to take a lot of criticism for this for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Flip the camera around so I can see your computer. I'm gonna walk him through this.
You got it.
All right, click. All right, click where it's. You see where it says StreamYard up there, the big letters. Click that. Yeah, that'll refresh your screen. All right, let it. All right, come out. I can't see nothing. All right, yeah, let it refresh. Yeah, he's getting it to refresh now. Going a little.
Somebody helping you?
I'm on your show right now, helping you. All right, scroll down.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I want.
Now enter studio. Hey, I've been holding it down. I know a little about women's basketball. I watch it constantly. As a Gamecock fan.
It's good. I got you. We got Jolette Law over there. We'll let you have the Gamecocks.
That's right. That's right. We'll take it.
We'll let you. We still got a little bit Iowa connection going on over there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I ain't mad at you.
All right. Welcome.
There he is. You're back.
All right.
Yeah, he's still a little off, isn't he?
But shout out, we got 50 people watching right now. That's really cool.
We got
I'm
50
sorry,
people watching this
thank
craziness.
you for holding down the fort, making it go for me. You know what's going on with my internet and everything. But I changed location. That will help. It's not because Molly just got out again. So anyhow, okay. So one of the things with the Hawkeyes today, one of the things we were talking about are the veterans letting us down on the, and it's today that they have because the bench outscored the veterans, the starting five, 39-28 today. How often do you see that happening?
You know,
Molly can hear me, or can she hear me? But she just
I
can't
can
see
hear
anything.
you. I can hear you. Yeah, you
right.
don't see that.
Mom,
So
if you can hear me, just don't feel free to talk. Okay. Oh dang.
I can hear you. You're good.
I need her for this show. Anyhow, guys. All right. We don't want to. Did you hear all that, Molly? What I said before?
Yeah. You don't see that a lot with bench outscoring your veteran players, but you got a different caliber of bench coming. So you've got some really strong freshmen that are trying to step up and show that they can take the floor, and I think they're doing it. I mean, why not? Hey, as a coach, I'd flip stuff. If we're losing 3 games in a row, I'd flip it. I'd put them freshmen out there and let them start it. I'd let them start the game and see what's up. I mean, that's just me.
We have McCabe, who came off the bench, played 35 minutes, which is at least 10 minutes more than the nearest person on the roster did, and was a leading scorer with 15 points today. And that just happening more and more frequently. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Jan's finally learning to get her out there.
Yeah.
But honestly, at the current time, I'm thinking we cannot. I'm sorry, but I think Sid and Kylie probably should be coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I don't think we don't want to limit them at all. I think they add value to the team. It's good that both and Kylie are not scoring right now.
Yeah. Oh, lost you again. But off of what he just said, I mean, I agree. I think Sid Falter and Fauerbach need to go back to the position, go back to the position that they're used to doing. I mean, they were strong players coming off the bench last year. So why not just leave them in that same position they were in, because you have the players now that can start the game and do just fine. And I really feel like a Falter and Fauerbach's more of a defensive player. Will get us some scrappy points, and a Falter is that, again, the same exact player. So starting them at the same time, I mean, they're just kind of that scrappy person you need in there to get some balls stolen every once in a while, and then get some rest from some of your starters, and then put them back in. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. That you've got to use your bench effectively. Especially your freshmen, they have to be game to play.
Mhm.
Transfer portal is such a big deal right now that freshmen get their opportunities because your people they flew in and out. And I know it doesn't happen as prevalent in women's basketball, but it does happen.
Oh, it does.
So make no
mean,
mistake about that.
I'd start the freshman if I were Jan, just to send a message. I mean, Coach Stringer did it to us before. She was like, "Oh, I got these recruits that came in, and you guys are my starting five over here, and you want to play around and do whatever. All right, then fine. I'm going to start the freshman and see what happened." And what it did is it lit a fire under our butts, and we're like, "No, these young kids aren't going to come in there and do this to us." And then it created one of the best 5-5 teams that we had in a while. You could have us in there kicking butt, get tired, and then pulling this other five off the bench, and the other team's going, "That's what we got to go against now." And that's exactly what South Carolina has done. There's no letdown. Like, you're like, I just played against what now? You just get tired. I mean, in the other teams are only going 10 and 11 deep. You know what I mean? Like, and not even really that. Like, it's almost like a 7, and then the last like 3 or 4, are like a 1 and 2 point kind of person. But what, South Carolina had everybody in scoring position? What, this game today? Like, that's what you got to look at. Like, and keeping everyone happy at the same time too, like you said, because you can't say a Guyton or a Stremlo or that, I would hope that they're going to be loyal, but you don't know that. Like, you don't know if somebody needs a guard and they're like, "Hey, here's $750,000." It's crazy.
It is. The teams that can pay, and you can't blame the
Crazy.
kids, right? Like, you just can't. Somebody says, "Hey, look, I can change your whole life. Come play for me." Hard to say no.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Like, I can't even imagine standing on the free throw line, standing there in Carver Hawkeye Arena on the free throw line, shooting a free throw, and I'm looking up, going, "Dang, I'm making $750,000 this year
right.
to play something I love to do. Like, this is nuts." Like, you know,
Oh, it is, and I know a lot of people really didn't like the fact that college people got paid with Neil and all that, but I love it. I think it's
yes,
good for the game
yeah,
because they're out there, they're putting their bodies on the line, and the argument is, well, they're getting an education. Well, sure they are, but let's not pretend like they're not bringing in lots of money for the university and what they're doing,
thank
right?
you.
So nothing wrong with sharing the pie.
I
Uh,
mean, thank you. I mean, you're preaching it right now because it's
right,
insane.
it
Like,
is,
and
and I
then
love it.
now with the new, they're taking care of their bodies and they're giving them an insurance and it's extending it out, for their lifetime and stuff like that is priceless. I mean, I've had 4 back surgeries, a knee surgery, and those are the thing, and a neck surgery, and those are things I had to pay for out of my own pocket because of
Mhm.
what basketball did to me. But I would do it again in like 2 seconds. If you asked me to be back out there on the floor, I would do it again. I put my body out there, for any amount of, I would do it. But yeah, I'm still excited. I mean, I was a little down with Iowa today, but I walked into my batting practice with my players. I said, my Iowa Hawkeyes just, they're lost today. But, I still believe in them. I still think they'll put it together and they're going to come out strong. Jan's going to figure it out. Freshmen are going to figure it out. Fans are going to figure it out. They got to figure out this is something different now, you know?
And it'll get better, like we said. The more the team plays together. Like South Carolina lost to UCLA early in the season, right? But we watch what they're doing to teams now, like a top 5 Texas team today, where they pretty much beat them by 20. UCLA probably doesn't beat South Carolina if they play them again.
Right.
So it's all about where you go from here. It's where you are at the end of the season, not at the beginning of the season. And people don't understand that a lot because they see these teams come out hot at the beginning of the year and then not do well at the end. And they go, what happened? Well, the other teams figured it out and they didn't. That's what happened.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't
X's and
matter where you are
O's.
now.
I mean, that's X's and O's. That's part of coaching. That's what you got to do.
Correct.
But, I mean, they got a good staff. Iowa's got a good staff. I mean, and it's not like they haven't been there, and they've been there, done that on and off the court. They've been there and done that as coaches, as players. And this is it's a good group of kids, and and that's the thing. They're kids. Y'all got to remember that too. These are still kids, like just and they're playing a game they love to play. And we can't lose sight of that. So. I'm not too worried about it. It's going to be hard to see, more losses than normal. Last year 3 would be what you had at the end of the year. So I know that's the thing it's going to be hard for the Iowa Hawkeyes is to, see more losses than they're used to. So.
Well, the good part for Iowa, here's where it's really beneficial, right? You had Caitlin Clark there. So you prove you can get the national spotlight if you go to Iowa. And then you see what she made in Neal. You prove that Iowa can pay competitively what other teams can as well. So recruiting there is not going to get any harder. It's only going to get easier because you can have that national spotlight there.
Yeah.
You can have a good lucrative Neal deal if you're a 5-star recruit. Iowa proved that with Caitlin Clark. She's probably the biggest star ever to come out of college basketball.
Absolutely.
College basketball ever.
Ever.
So that's how impactful she was.
That's the complete truth, which is insane because it really absolutely came out of nowhere.
Like it did.
It just came out of nowhere. I remember, I'd watched Iowa for a little bit and I kind of just fell off. I mean, I fell off with everything, with WNBA, Iowa, everything. Like I just fell off, even the NBA. I just stopped watching basketball. And then I remember someone was saying, you need to watch Iowa. There's this Clark girl. And I'm like, who? And then just bam, it just blew up like you wouldn't believe. Like it was the insanity of it is just, it's tremendous. So yeah, to have another one like her is, I mean, that's it. She seriously is it's insanity to see what she did and how she did it game in and game out. So they got to make a huge switch. They got to switch from that to this is what we are now, and let's embrace it. And if anybody's going to embrace it, the Iowa Hawkeye fans will embrace it for sure. They're just so loyal. I mean, that's why Iowa always gets into a bowl game. Even though they may not deserve it, they get a bowl game because the Iowa Hawkeye fans are so loyal.
Well, home field advantage matters. And I was going to pack the place, right? It's always, no matter what sport it is, even baseball, the fans are going to be there. Yeah. And to your point with Caitlin Clark, she made women's basketball fun. is what it was. She became that version of what Steph Curry did
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop her. Like, it didn't matter.
No.
Like she'll pull up from 30 feet and shoot it. And that made it hard because you couldn't double team her, because Iowa wasn't a bad team. Their other players would have eaten you up if you would have left 4-on-3. So you
Yeah.
had no choice but to guard her 1-on-1, and she took advantage of it and just
Yeah.
ate for 4 years. And then it made her so good, and it made her such a pop icon. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And like with the WNBA this year, after she went in there, their salaries went up 42%, and they started flying private instead of public.
Yeah.
They started getting team doctors that were top echelon, and that's the Caitlin Clark effect. Make no
Bigger
mistake.
arenas.
Correct. Bigger arena, had no choice. All these people wanted to go watch her play.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I told I bought tickets before she was drafted. So I bought tickets to the Atlanta Dream before she was drafted, right? And I called the guy up, and it's crazy. I got six season tickets, including 2 of the games against Indiana. Okay. And I'm like, and it was $250 for 6 season tickets. And I told the guy, I said, this is amazing. And he goes, well, yeah, this is what I said, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna have to get a bigger arena. He goes, what do you mean? I said,
Yeah.
he goes, yeah, we got some uptick in sales, but I think we're fine with the arena. I said, no, sir, you're gonna have to get a bigger arena. So by the time the game came around, my seats that I had now were in State Farm Arena, and it was packed. I mean, it was packed, packed, packed. I went to a Hawks game just recently because my son was singing the national anthem. And I'm sitting in there at a Hawks game in the same arena that I was at with Caitlin Clark, and there were seats. It was empty. Like, there was hardly anyone there. When Caitlin Clark came to play the Dream, that place was packed. Packed to the, I mean, there was people standing there. It was insane. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% the Caitlin Clark effect. And what that's going to do, though, is it pushes more of the narrative out there, because you take like I was a Dream fan for so long, and then Asia went to Las Vegas. So, I still love my Dream. I'm an Atlanta fan in all sports, but I mean, like, I'm an Aces fan now. Asia Wilson's my favorite player ever.
It's
And when
great.
Caitlin
Yes, I
Clark
love them.
came in- yeah, when Caitlin Clark came in, people started noticing Asia more. And now they're like, hey, Asia's the Michael Jordan
She's
of
awesome.
the WNBA. But no one would have known that had Caitlin Clark not brought the eyes there.
Right. And
And
she's
so,
insane. Like, I went
insane.
and watched that was the other game I went to. Well, because of Kate Martin too, but then I wanted to go see Asia Wilson in person. Like, I
Yeah.
just wanted to see her on the floor to see how big she actually is. And I'm 6'3" and I tower over people, but that woman is a giant.
Yep.
And she is insane. Like, her ability is above and beyond.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
she's my
telling you.
favorite player ever.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
Dean, you seem clear now, man. Enjoy your show. Hey, man, you got 70 people watching, man. Knock it out of the park.
Thanks. Apparently the Eagle.
You're back.
I'm back. Yeah. Hopefully I stay this time. I don't
I think
know.
you will. You sound better. You're not glitching and out.
Oh, that explains everything. I so lost where we're at with this conversation. So
Well, we kind of just went through like the bench and the freshmen, and you had us with our points on that the bench outscored the starters.
yeah. And I just did just listening to another podcast today. They were going off on Jan. They were getting down on Kylie. They were getting down on Sid. They were really railing those guys. Even people were going after Hannah. And honestly, I don't want to be that. I don't want us
No.
to do that.
No.
I heard you say earlier when I was listening through Andrew's phone that these are just kids.
They are.
These are just kids, and they're trying to figure this way out. Jan's brought not the same system with her that they're used to. They're used to running a fast break system and going all the time.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I were the coach, I would go back to that. I know that Jan wants to slow it down a little bit, but as I said earlier before I got glitched away one time, is that we're not a half court team. Hannah can't work in the half court. Hannah needs to be out running and needs to have that ball being fed to her where
Yeah.
she's at. And because Hannah's already, we've seen Hannah work in the half court, and she's just having a hard time struggling getting the ball into the hoop, and she's just kind of chucking it up there, hoping for a foul or
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. No.
Foul
I mean,
or a lucky
she's
shot or get both. And honestly, I
she's
would love to see Jan at anything. I would love Jan to kind of have a red light moment, a light bulb moment, and just say, "Hey, this team can run. We can run." And also, too, the other thing I want to see them do is maybe a little more pressing. They put the press on too late.
I agree.
They need to put that press on. And they say Coach Rena, is it Rena or Rena? How you pronounce it?
I think it's Reina.
Okay. Reading a Chad Lysicle article tonight on his thoughts on the game, she has been pushing for the press more than they do.
I agree.
And I think if they would have put the press on as soon as they got 15 points down or even 10 points in the second half, and they got the numbers. Jan's doing 10 substitutions a game anyway. So what would be wrong with having a rotation of that, doing that? I mean, they've got some girls capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I don't understand why, because since I played at Iowa, we've always been a pressing team. That's what we did. Like we'd throw the press on, and other teams would wish that we would take it off. Like there's no reason to not do that. And it speeds up the other team's offense because they can't just come down the floor. Like as soon as you put the pressure on, it usually will speed up the offense, right, on the other end. So once you do that, they're taking a quick shot. We're getting the ball, then we can do our fast break. We can take off down the floor. So it does add a lot of positives. And if you've got, I mean, they've got it so that they could literally have a team, right? A team that is a pressing team. And then they've got a team that could be your half court team. Like for real, like she's got 5 like that. 5 that can run, 5 that can run your half court.
Yeah, and I know that Bluter didn't believe in defense. She just wanted to run and score as quick as they could. But why can't we combination that?
Absolutely.
Get up there, score quickly, and then get into our full court press.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
I mean,
and I guarantee the players that she has can do that. I guarantee a Stremlo, a Guyton, and you can even put Lucy in there. Lucy's got those long arms, so you put Lucy Stremlo and Guyton up in the front court, and your post players in the back, and you let like I told you before, like let Stolke run that back area where she's making those steals. It's over, but. And change up the defense.
Yeah.
We really do need to change up the defense. Our man-to-man is not cutting it. I mean, we're going under screens. We're chasing around screens. We're not switching on screens. We're leaving people open on the 3-point line too long. And I think that's what ends up giving the other team, they're getting that high percentage from that 3-point line when they play Iowa.
Yeah. Well, they definitely are. The other thing too is it just seems like at times we just seem so lost out there.
Yeah.
We just don't seem to be focused. But you've noticed we're doing it against good teams. Not that Indiana's not ranked, but they're not a bad team.
No, not at all.
And no,
I think we had a mirrored record. Our records mirrored each other, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not right.
Yeah. And the other, we're 2-4. They're 4-1, I believe. They've only lost once, I believe, in the Big Ten.
In the Big Ten, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, I mean,
but we have well, I was kind of looking at it, and I don't have my notes in front of me because I switched locations to see if I could get a better internet connection. But one of the things I was looking at is the way the pattern continues that we've seen the last 3 games. I think right now the best we're going to do is 9-9 in the Big Ten. Just looking at it,
probably,
and that's beating the 5 teams underneath of us because we're 13th, beating the 5 teams underneath of us who all have yet to win a game. And I think one of them has one win, but okay, so we should be able to beat them, or at least give it a good run. And then
Yeah.
the two teams directly above us, Oregon and Washington, they're not that. They're just average, but they've got a better record than us because they probably played an easier schedule so far than we
Right.
have.
So we could probably pull a couple of those out and then,
Mhm.
see what happens
Yeah.
with the
I'm
other
thinking
top
like that's
teams.
7 wins to go along with our 2 wins. That could go 9-9 because right now I'm not having any hope against UCLA and USC at this point. Ohio State. We've already got beat by Maryland, and we still got who else ahead of us on the schedule? We got Nebraska twice. We
Take your
got it.
pick.
I'm at the point. Yeah, I'm at the point where I think Nebraska is an absolute must win, or the bottom falls out of the season.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of early in the season. We're only 5 games into the season, or 6 games now into the Big Ten season, and
Yeah.
but man, can you imagine going 2-5 and having to dig out of that hole?
No. No. It's not fun. That's an early spring break is what that is.
Yeah.
We used to
Yeah,
get mad
what
when we
you're
were on
I know
spring
what you're
break.
saying is
Yeah.
for the first time in several years, the Hawkeye
Yeah.
women will be at home watching the games on TV and not playing them.
They'll be enjoying a nice spring break wherever they decide to go, but we don't want to do that. We never like to have spring break. Or lose early and then be at home or in the dorms on spring break when everybody else was out having fun because we didn't have those NIL deals where we could just go get a yacht if we wanted to.
Yeah. I will go take that yacht. No, I'll take that spring break.
I know, right? I'll take the spring break now. Jeez.
Yeah. I did notice that Kelvin put up there that Indiana was in the bottom third of the country in defense. And so that
So you
kind of
think, hey,
think
could
we
be a
could have
good night.
scored.
Yeah.
We didn't even score 70 points, and so
But it was
and
us. That
honestly,
was on us. It's not like they were
Mhm.
contesting our shots. Like it wasn't
no,
like, oh, this was a super amazing defense in your face. It was just it wasn't falling. Like the shots were not falling.
yeah,
You know?
okay, yeah, that's true. Can you carry the show for just a second? I'm going to run in the other room and grab my notes.
Okay, go grab your notes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's gonna go grab his notes, but let's see if I'm looking at what I might do. I don't know. Let's see. Hey, he's here. What you got for me? You were glitching for
Nothing. I
you
figured
were
while he's
glitching for a
gone-
minute too.
What's that?
I said you were glitching for a minute too.
Oh yeah. I was for just a second. I think I'm good now. He's going to get his notes. I was listening, and man, I'm telling you, I agree that you beat the bottom.
Oh,
I think
look at
you
that.
beat
Andrew
3
decided
teams.
to help you out for a minute.
I did. I think you beat 3 teams you don't think you're going to beat either. So I
Okay.
think you guys will be fine. Have
Yeah.
a great show, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
He's all smiles
As long
'cause
as
you
we
know
don't have to
Mr.
run into South Carolina in the tournament.
I know. See, he's all smiles because of Mr. South Carolina up there, but
I know. I could just see this happening. Is we don't become one of the top 4 seeds in a region, which probably is not going to happen at this point. Okay, so we get a number 8 seed, and they send us to South Carolina.
and we beat him.
You hear that, Andrew? We're coming to South Carolina. We're going to beat you this year.
He
I
he
wouldn't
doesn't
bet
understand.
on it.
There you go.
I'll tell you what the crazy part is the school I was coaching at and teaching at last year. The principal was a big South Carolina fan. So when those 2 teams came up, the year before that, and we beat them, she you know what she did though? She said, guess what though? She goes, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan now. And she goes, and I was not too bad either. I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, so here's what I want to go over real quick.
Okay.
Okay. We've got USC at 6-0 because they won their game tonight. UCLA at 5-0. Ohio State 5-0. Maryland 5-1. We don't have to face them again this year until the Big Ten tournament, possibly. Minnesota at 4-1, who's 16-1 overall. This is like probably the surprise of the year for me.
Yes.
Okay, I was wrong about Indiana. They are 4. I was right. Actually, they're 4-1 in the Big Ten. So they're playing pretty decent ball. They might replace us in the
Yeah,
in
they will.
in the top 20. Okay. Nebraska at 4-2, 13-4 overall. Okay, so that's beatable, but it's scary because I don't know who they play because we'd have to go back and find out who they played.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Michigan State 3-2, and I believe they beat us earlier this year, and that's sad to see. They're 3-2 and they beat us. Okay. All right, Oregon 3-3, Illinois 2-3, and there we go. We're one of their 2 wins, and we lost to that team. And then we got ourselves at 2-4, or Michigan at 2-3, us at 2-4, Wisconsin at 1-5, and everybody else, Northwestern, Purdue, Penn State, and Rutgers, has yet to win a game in the Big Ten. So, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And so this is where I was thinking. I was thinking that we could possibly get Rutgers, Penn State, Purdue. Did we beat Northwestern already? Or was that the men?
That was the men. I think we beat Penn State.
Okay. So we got Rutgers, Purdue, Northwestern, and Wisconsin yet to play. So those should be wins. I don't think we played Michigan yet. That should be a win. Oregon and Washington should be win. I think those are our wins. I think we can get Nebraska. So maybe we do better than the 9-9. I'm thinking maybe we can dig out of this hole and get to like 10-6 or something, maybe.
10-6 would be good.
10-6 would be good, but
probably
1, 2, 3. I'm seeing at least 3 more losses in the Big Ten, and I don't know where Minnesota's at. We don't have to face them until a little bit later in the season, so we'll see how that goes. All right.
Probably USC, but see the Minnesota Iowa game. See, it's just different because, we beat Iowa State, and Iowa State's up there right now. So it's just different when we meet each other. It's just because it's that we've always had a thing against each other, Iowa and Minnesota. But if Minnesota is doing what you said, like I said too, like you were telling me, I was like, what? That's pretty awesome. It's a surprise. But yeah, you still like to see those northern teams do well. You just do.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know how Minnesota is already just kind of like, man, where'd they come from? Usually, it's like Iowa's been working their way this way, and
right.
We haven't missed
Minnesota
the tournament since 2017. We haven't missed the tournament since 2017, according to Kelvin. But
since 2017.
Yeah. But since then, they've been working well. They've been progressively getting better. And I remember when Iowa lost, just barely couldn't get to the Elite Eight, or maybe it was the Elite Eight they lost, but they didn't get to the Final Four.
Yep.
The first place Bluter went when they got home was over to Caitlin Clark's house when they were still recruiting her. Said, "Hey, you see that? We need you. You're the missing piece to get us to the Final Four." And I remember Caitlin Clark. She would say, "I'm going to take this team to the Final Four." She got us there her last 2 years.
Yep. Yeah. You speak it and it shall be. And I think they need to start practicing that. Let's start speaking it.
Yeah. Well, Kate was already at one of their practices. There's a video of her going around saying, "Why can't you go? People don't think you can do it again. Why can't you? Why not?
Exactly.
Why not you guys? Why can't you do it again?
Yeah, why not you still? Literally, why not you?" They still didn't believe in them last year in their first few games when Caitlin was the only one scoring and the bench and nobody scored and they talked, they're nothing and they're not going to make it as far as they did the year before, and Caitlin's the only player on the team, right? Remember that, right?
Yeah.
And they heard them and they stepped up and did what they needed to do. There's still plenty of time. These girls are fighters. I'm telling you, they're fighters.
Yeah. They are. The way they've lost these last 3 games, but they have scrapped back in every game to get themselves back well enough that they put themselves in a position that they could have won. They didn't, but they could have. And they talked about that tonight. Both Taylors did, about that they feel like they're fighters, they're scrappy, and they came. And she said even when 4 minutes to go in the game and they were 10 points down, they were screaming at each other in the huddle that this game is not over.
Right.
Not over. We can do this. We've been here before. We can get back.
Yeah.
We can get it back.
Yeah.
You know.
And you see when you see McCabe and you see Stremlo and you see all of them just getting so hyped up, you know, and it you know, it's there. It's there. It's still a possibility. It's there. And I never, I don't ever, I don't do it as a coach. Now I guess I just don't do it as a podcast person either. You can't count anyone out. Like everybody would always ask me as a coach, how's your team? Like, what do you think? How far is your team gonna go this year? And I remember I was like, I'm not really sure right now. I can't let you know. Finally, you know, we get there and we're going to the championship game, and they're like, okay, coach, can you say your team's good now? And I'm like, okay, I guess I can give them some some credit. Like you can't count people out. You just don't know the fight and the determination in some players. They'll pull it together, and I've seen it in every single one of them. So I'm gonna stay positive.
Yeah, I can remember one time when I was coaching soccer, and we were coming up on the easy team in the league. We were the number 1 team in the league, and we were coming up on the worst team. And I said, "You guys got this. You got it. Don't worry about it." We got beat. You know how many parents wanted to hang me up and crucify me that day? And it was my fault. I didn't, you know, they took the same attitude I did when they went out there. They just thought it was automatic.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be, you know, I mean, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, Jan's great at motivating them and keeping them up and getting them to believe in what they can do. So, and I
She was
just,
still smiling in the huddle when the cameras went up there. She was still
Yeah.
smiling as she talked to them. She wasn't screaming at them. She wasn't berating them. You know,
and that's hard. She's doing a good job.
Speaking of that,
That's hard to do.
Have you had a chance? Yeah. All right, we must be getting the glitch again because we're talking over each other. But hey, have you watched any men's basketball games for Iowa this year? Okay. The one thing I've noticed this year, how calm Fran is. He almost seems interested. He's too calm, and he's a really fiery.
Yeah.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna end this stream before we glitch out.
Before we glitch out again.
Yeah. And go. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate all 100 of you. Thank you. In the stream. And